Have you ever stopped to think about the simple act of getting dressed? Shirts, pants, jackets, shoes? It's something we do every single day without questioning it. But if we rewind far enough in human history, there was a time when clothing didn't exist at all. Early humans walked the earth with no shirts, no coats, and no closets full of outfits to choose from. At some point, though, that changed. Our ancestors began covering their bodies, creating one of the earliest technologies that helped humans survive in new and challenging environments. The problem is, clothes don't last very long in the archaeological record. Fabric rots, leather decays, and thousands of years later, very little remains for scientists to study. So how do researchers figure out when humans first started wearing clothes? Today we're going to explore the fascinating clues, from ancient tools to tiny parasites, that reveal when humans first began dressing themselves, right here, on History of Simple Things. For most of human evolution, clothing simply wasn't necessary. Early human ancestors evolved in warm regions of Africa, where temperatures were mild enough that bare skin wasn't a problem. In fact, humans gradually lost much of their body hair compared to other primates. Many scientists believe this hair loss helped early humans stay cool while walking long distances under the hot African sun. Without thick fur, sweating became our main way to regulate body temperature. This ability allowed early humans to run and hunt for long periods without overheating, but losing body hair also meant losing natural protection from cold environments. As long as humans stayed in warm climates, this wasn't a big issue. But once they began migrating into colder regions, things started to change. Eventually, survival required some form of protection from the elements. Cold temperatures, wind, rain, and snow made bare skin dangerous. That's when clothing likely entered the picture, not as a fashion statement, but as a survival tool. One of the most fascinating clues about when humans started wearing clothes actually comes from parasites, specifically lice. There are two types that live on humans: head lice and body lice. Head lice live in human hair, while body lice live in clothing and only crawl onto the skin to feed. Scientists realized something interesting. Body lice could not exist before clothing did. By studying the DNA of these two lice species, researchers were able to estimate when body lice evolved from head lice. Genetic studies suggest that this split happened around 170,000 years ago. That means humans were likely wearing some form of clothing by that time. This discovery gave scientists one of the most important clues about the timeline of clothing. While it doesn't tell us exactly what those early garments looked like, it strongly suggests that humans had begun regularly wearing clothes tens of thousands of years before recorded history. So what did the earliest clothing actually look like? It certainly wasn't cotton shirts or denim jeans. Early humans likely used materials that were immediately available in nature. Animal hides and furs were probably among the first types of clothing. After hunting animals for food, the skins could be cleaned and draped over the body for warmth. At first, these coverings may have been extremely simple, more like capes or wraps rather than fitted garments. Over time, humans developed tools that allowed them to shape and fasten materials together. Archaeologists have discovered bone tools that were likely used to scrape animal hides and make them softer. Eventually, early sewing tools began to appear. Bone needles dating back about 40,000 years have been found in archaeological sites. These needles had small holes for thread, suggesting that humans had learned to stitch pieces of material together. This allowed for more fitted clothing, which would have been especially important in colder climates. Clothing wasn't just about comfort. It helped humans expand across the globe. As early humans migrated out of Africa, they encountered drastically different environments. Some regions were cold, windy, or covered in snow for much of the year. Without clothing, survival in these areas would have been nearly impossible. Clothing provided insulation, protecting the body from freezing temperatures and harsh weather. This simple technology allowed humans to move into places like Europe and Northern Asia, where winters could be brutal. In other words, clothing may have played a key role in humanity's ability to spread across the planet. It gave our species a major advantage: the ability to adapt to environments that our bodies alone were not built to handle. Over time, clothing began to serve purposes beyond simple protection from the elements. As human societies became more complex, clothing started to carry cultural meaning. Different groups developed their own styles, materials, and methods of decoration. Clothes could signal status, identity, occupation, or membership in a particular community. Even in ancient civilizations, clothing quickly became a way for people to express who they were. Eventually, fabrics like linen, wool, and silk replaced many animal skins. Textile production became a major part of early economies, and clothing gradually evolved into the massive global industry we know today. What began as a simple solution to cold weather eventually turned into something much bigger: a form of art, identity, and cultural expression. So when did humans start wearing clothes? While the exact moment is impossible to pinpoint, the best scientific evidence suggests that regular clothing use began around 170,000 years ago. Long before cities, agriculture, or even cave paintings, our ancestors had already figured out how to protect themselves from the environment using animal skins and natural materials. From those humble beginnings, clothing evolved alongside human civilization itself. Today, what we wear can signal personality, profession, culture, and creativity. But at its core, clothing still serves the same fundamental purpose it did for our ancient ancestors: helping humans survive and adapt to the world around them. And the next time you get dressed in the morning, it's worth remembering: you're participating in a tradition that may be nearly 200,000 years old. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.